and they came and they hindered City from being Man City. Am I excited? I am very excited. Am I expecting that City might lose to Luton Town someday? Yes, I am. Please quote me. Write it down. 15 naira for everybody when it happens. But like, I'm really excited. I saw that coming, but I just didn't say anything.
Transit TV, welcome back again to our weekend roundup, the show we used to look at the weekend games and try to unpack how they happened over the weekend. This weekend promised ahead of time was potentially going to be an intriguing one. Some exciting games to come up and they lead to that expectation. Though we had some surprise results, some shock, and some continued downward trend for some teams like United. Chelsea, we know, is going to play tomorrow against Fulham. And we also, as it has happened this season so many times, we saw some bizarre decisions by referees and the continuation of inconsistencies by teams like Brighton continued this weekend. I'm here today with my man Richard, Jude, and Funsho is joining us in a minute. Ugum and Chioma will be coming on board soon as well to look at these games. It's been a very interesting weekend so far, and so many talking points. Guys, you are welcome to the show.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for having me. Sorry, a little bit tech difficulty, but yeah, I am.
Yeah, Richard, back to see you again. Good to see you again back on the show.
Likewise. Good evening, viewers. Good evening, everybody. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, and Jude, it's been a long time, runaway soldier. Back to the barrack.
Yeah. Happy to be here once again. Good to see you, everyone.
Yeah,
guys.
Yeah, let's run through this one. The weekend started with this very intriguing result. Aston Villa brushed Brighton 6-1. I don't think many people saw this one coming, but I've always maintained in this show that Brighton, no matter how, I don't care how good people think they are or people believe they are, but they've not proved to me personally, in my opinion, to be a consistent team in terms of getting results. They tend to go all guns blazing and blow away teams, but they find it difficult to get results consistently, even within a short run of 5 games. In between games, they always come up with these shocking results and displays, and that we saw this weekend when Aston Villa blew them away 6-1, and by the end of first half, they were already 3 goals down. Oli Watkins got his hat-trick, and it looked all doom and gloom for Brighton. Aston Villa all of a sudden looked like a team that is flying. They moved from 8th position, I think, to 5th now on the table. Brighton was third before this game. At the end of this weekend, they will find themselves in the, I think, 6th position. So I don't know, Richard, what's your take on this game? What do you think about Brighton? I know there is so much noise about the way they play football and what they have managed to achieve in the last season and what they've been doing this season so far. But one of my biggest worries about them is inconsistency.
I agree with you. You're very correct. They're not a team that. What will happen is they will stay in maybe that 5th to 8th. They won't get higher than 5th at the very highest, and they're a Europa League team or a Europa Conference team. We've had there are occasions in this on the show where you ask us to predict results, and if you remember, I'm always predicting that they will not, even their home games, that there will be shocks regarding their results, and it happens. They're not a team that they play good football, undoubtedly, but they're not a team that is going to cause any sort of worries to the bigger teams on a consistent basis. That's the way I see it. So I agree with you entirely. They will get good results here and there, but not on a consistent basis.
So Jude, what do you think is the reason why this is so for Brighton?
Well, most of these teams are not consistent in their performance, but again, it's something that you need to reckon the evolution of teams in the Premiership. They are all potential markets. Most of these clubs are positioning for businesses. We know there is a lot of money coming into football, especially from the East. And then what will I say? Business owners have found football or sports, as thriving. It's never going to go away. So these smaller clubs are trying to market themselves, and in marketing themselves, they can't just attract investors, just with nothing. They need to prove that they have what it takes to compete at the highest level. Competing at the highest level, starting up their season very well, getting results against big teams, and sticking there in the top 10 of the table. That improves their stock and can easily attract investors that they require, to remain in the top level of the league.
Yeah, I hear you.
That's the way I look at it. So for me, I'm looking at it from a business perspective now.
Yeah.
First of all, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. But on the technical side, like I mean, there are also benefits to being at the top in terms of getting results on the table on the position on the table. If you also stay on top in top four, you make money, you become a bigger brand, and more important players can come to your system, and it has its own benefits as well. So what does it take for a club to transit from that being mediocre team or just being around what's happening to being a mainstay in the league or something like somebody like Brighton now? I think they have come to consolidate their position in the table in the league, but now is to now make the transition from there to where when Brighton comes calling, you 80% know what to expect as against what we have been saying. Today they win 2 games, the next 3 games, the third game, they are blown away by whoever they are playing against. Funsho, do you have an idea what Brighton needs to do to, if they have the ambition of doing this consolidation to achieve that?
I think, thanks for having me, guys, and all the new guys I'm seeing for the first time. Thank you. Thanks, Transit TV. I like what you guys are doing, and I hope you continue to have the energy and the motivation to continue. And with that said, I think what Brighton will have to do is keep your players, right? And it's either they're going to be big or be small. They can't be in the middle. They're a small club with big club potential, but they really didn't seize the opportunity to realize who they are. They've produced a lot of fantastic players who have gone on to the big clubs to, do something wonderful. So I think I'm not really worried about them because you look at it, they've won 5 games, to be honest. They've won the same amount of games as Aston Villa won, same amount of games as Liverpool won, but the only difference is Liverpool didn't lose 2, they drew 1 and lost 1. So the only thing that got us here is goal difference. If Villa beat them 2-1, we probably won't be as worried, right? So I'm not worried about Brighton because they're a mid-table club. I don't think they've underperformed. I only worry about them once they become a big club. They're not a big club yet, and they don't want to be a big club. They want, like someone mentioned earlier, they want to be a seller. They want to turn it to business. But and I think I'll applaud them for something. Every time they sell that big player, another player take up the position. We didn't know who Ferguson was until they start selling the top player, right? Treasure left, you have Chioma, you have Ferguson. You have all these guys come out of nowhere and doing something big. Maybe money's a potential, and also know that, look, if I do so well, I just need one good season. I get sold to a big club. That might be the motivation why we are seeing good performance of Brighton. But the bottom line is history doesn't history will remind us that, look, they're still not a top club. They don't want to be a top club, right? 2-3 seasons ago, they have a season to break into the top 6, potentially fighting for top 4. But they kept telling the top guys, the top producers. So what they need to do, like you asked, one, keep your players and have a vision as a club and say, look, we're going after this club. We're going after United. Next 3 seasons, this is our goal. You know, like I said, the club have played 7 games, they've won 5. They have 15 points. They're only 2-3 points. They are 3 points below Mancity. Mancity is number 1. I'm not worried about them as their performance. It's like a D student that's getting a B+. I'm okay with that.
Okay. Yeah, Richard, what do you have to say before we move on to the next game?
You know, Brighton are very similar to Leicester of 5, 6, 7 seasons ago. And you know, they're owned by one person that doesn't really own other sports franchises, but is interested in, has just sort of taken a liking to that particular team. Yeah, they're very well run, but you know, to actually sort of move to the next level, the level of investment is extensive. It's intensive. I mean, Brighton cannot afford a £50 million player. I mean, I think their most expensive, I don't know what their most expensive purchase is, but I don't think it'll be more than maybe 20 or 25 million. And you see, when you're investing at that level, you cannot cope or you cannot compete meaningfully with teams that are spending 100 million, 75 million on lots of people in their team. What has happened with Leicester, for example, they even stretched themselves. After a while, they couldn't even maintain what they'd done regarding the players they bought, and they now had to sort of rein it in. And we all know what happened; they were relegated. So this is the conundrum that they find themselves in. I'm sure that there's a way they can maybe move to the next level, but it will take a lot of planning, and they are not anywhere near that yet. You know what they, like you said, or somebody else said, they're a selling club, and you can't. It's very difficult to be a selling club and successful at the same. It's very difficult. I mean, when I think about it in European football, I think the only team that has actually managed it is maybe Dortmund. You know,
and they've not really won the league as well. I understand what you're saying. I think I hear what you're saying. Yeah, it's true. But for me, I think, like you said, Richard, they can do it, but it all depends on the ambition of the owner by reinvesting. I mean, the last 2-3 seasons, Brighton has made a lot of money from selling players, and if they want to go to the next level, I think the best thing is to try to reinvest those money instead of taking it out of the club. That's one. Two, you have to also, like Richard mentioned, be strategic about it. There are so many players that are good that probably fall out of minutes in the bigger clubs and leave. You can target to sign some of those kind of players to help you consolidate your team, and bring that mentality of competing week in, week out. Let's say, for instance, what Arsenal did with Gabriel Jesus and Zinchenko. They're not the best players out there, but they came from City with a different mentality, and they have helped other players around them too. So then if you come to a lower level, Rob Holding left Arsenal to, I think he's a Nottingham Forest or something like that, for 2 or 3 million. So you target some of those players that have played in the big club and at the high level for a little bit, but because they are not really top-notch qualities, they lose their place. Target them, bring them to the club, offer them something a little bit higher than what you normally pay your regular players, and they come in with a different mentality. And gradually it could be a 2, 3, 4 year plan. You continue to improve on it, and while maintaining your scouting system that helps you bring these cheap players from wherever they get them from and keep selling. Because like you said, Jude, end of the day, if it's business for you, being at the top level as well comes with its own rewards, both financially and otherwise. And then once the brand starts to grow, you also make a lot of money and be relevant. So it depends on what the goals are for the owners, the board, and what they're trying to achieve with the club. If they really want to go big, because for years now, a few big clubs in England are just faltering, and anybody that is serious can easily slot into. Before, we used to say big four or top four. Tottenham became consistent and came into the mix. Now we're talking about big six. You understand what I'm saying? So if United and Chelsea continue to do what they are doing, and Tottenham or Liverpool, they're never there nor here, a team like Brighton can as well step up and try to force themselves into what's going on around the top end of the league. So I think for me is more of ambition, like you said, Jude, and the strategy that the owner decides to deploy that will determine how far or how consistent they can remain. But it cannot. What they are doing is not sustainable. Like Richard mentioned, today Leicester is relegated, so you can't keep doing this and think that it will keep you in the league. At some point, it's going to explode in your face, and before you know it, you're down to the championship. In the last 10 years, we know so many teams that nobody ever thought would get relegated. They are now down maybe third, fourth, tier leagues in England. So we move to Arsenal playing at home to Bournemouth. Yeah, this one as well, of course, most people believe that Arsenal was going to win this game. It was an interesting game. It's a game that Arsenal managed to find their fluidity one more time, scored goals, 4-0. And it looks all good for Arsenal and their supporters. Chioma, welcome to the show. Let's touch base with you right quick, right there. What was your overall thought about the game between Arsenal and Bournemouth? Let's see there. I think Chioma is having a network issue.
Yes,
yeah. So Funsho, what was your? I know you watched the game. What was your overall thought about the Arsenal Bournemouth game?
You can see behind me right here. This guy here, this guy here,
yeah,
the best winger in the league. I was saying the world right now, and permit me to rub some people feathers when I say that.
Don't say that where Jude is, because he has issues on the other side.
He does. Okay,
he's gonna attack you big time.
We can examine the fact, and what I see this kid do, like in the last 9 games now, 9 goals and 9 assists combined. I think 4 goals, 5 assists, or 5 assists, 4 goals. Mm-hmm. That's beautiful from a very young guy, someone that's even injured, and it's not even playing because finishing the games, right? So he's playing, and the last game, he would have taken a penalty. That would be 2-3 goals, but we gave one to Odegaard and one to Kai. Mm-hmm. And back to what I think about the game, I'm surprised by the lineup, right? When we met before the pregame, when we did the show, mm-hmm. we wanted your guy, what's his name again? Ogo. And we didn't think these guys that played were gonna play.
Exactly.
I didn't think Declan Rice was gonna be there. I was expecting Saka to be rested. We were flirting. Maybe we might see Martinelli based on how he's feeling. Mm-hmm. So it's a very total shocking lineup. I didn't think Bournemouth was ready. And I think we play our game all through, but I'm still worried when Saka left the game, the possession turned, mm-hmm. right? Overall, good performance by Arsenal. And now we're defeated. We are tied number 2, I'll say.
Yeah,
but goal difference right now. We're tied with Tottenham 5. We won 5, draw 2. Mm-hmm. So I like where we're heading. I think it's a beautiful game. Like we said, Bournemouth is a low table team for a reason. I think they're gonna get relegated this season. I think, like we said, you have to spend money. Obviously, if you want to be a good club and want to last in the league, you need to spend. This football is a business of spending. Mm-hmm. I'm proud of Arsenal. I hope we can get past this whole injury stuff and reclaim our mandate. and be number one and actually win it this year, because I really think City is winnable. I said in the beginning of the season on a different podcast, City, I think when I watch them, they're beatable this season, and we saw what Wolves did. So I'm happy with Arsenal, but I'm still questioning Mikel's selection. There's no reason why Ramsdale shouldn't have played that game. I mean, you know, and there's no reason for Kai to have started. If you really want to say, okay, I'm picking these guys, you know, but you know, he's in charge. It's working, right? It's working. I'm excited to see what the club has to offer for the rest of the season.
Oh, yeah, I hear you. I hear you. I agree with most of the things that you've said. Chioma, good to have you back. Let me touch base with you right quick. There, like Funsho said, there's something that happened during the game. After the game that I was having his press conference, and he asked me about the penalty taken in Arsenal. He said that for the first time, I remember last season when something happened, he denied. He said they don't have number one penalty taker. But this time around, he said that Saka is supposed to be the number one. But sometimes these players make decisions in the pitch, and he backed what they did. So the Arsenal was leading two goals to nothing against Bournemouth. And we had the penalty, and Saka and Odegaard decided to give Kai Havertz the chance of, you know, getting a goal to his name and probably help him build his confidence in the team. What did you make about that gesture? Do you think it was the right thing to do, and what would be the impact on Kai Havertz going forward? I know Kai Havertz is your man.
I love that you said that. I love that you said that. Hello, everyone. Sorry, I've been in and out of Zoom meetings. So first of all, I'm so excited, like really excited. I had to keep rewatching the video of Kai, you know, playing the penalty and how he paused and took the kick. And I've taken it upon myself to rub it in the faces of all the Chelsea fans and Man United fans. I'm so sorry. So this is what I think happened yesterday. I think that, of course, everybody's saying it. Arteta has said it. That was empathy. They were very human. That was a display of total, you know, we're right behind you. We see what you're doing. We see that you're working hard. And we're here to make sure that you get to the permanent site, which is scoring a goal. Okay. And I had even tweeted and said Kai was going to score a screamer. Okay. And someone was like, no, it wasn't a screamer. I'm like, I screamed. Okay. we can talk and overemphasize on what confident level Kai is on right now. But you and I know that this is what that young man needed. Okay. And I just want to shout out to all the boys in the locker room for seeing what this guy needed. Because believe me, yesterday is not about his penalty. I saw that Kai, his body language changed. I don't care what anybody's saying, but I saw his body language change. I saw that Kai has learned how to be at the right place at the right time. There was a ball he kicked. He got, I can't remember the person that gave him that pass, but Kai aimed, and for the first time in an Arsenal jersey, he kicked a ball, a target actually. But though, you know, he didn't hit the target. But I saw Kai's body language change. And Kai has started being at the right place at the right time. You know, when people, like when you give somebody a pass across the room, Kai now knows how to stand there.
Yeah, expect
that's a change. That's a change in his body language. And I see him losing all that shackles from Chelsea, quotes me, shackles from Chelsea. And he's becoming the man that we know he is. So for me, I'm all over the place with happiness. And I'm saying that this is the Kai Havertz we paid for. Our first baby, by the way.
Yeah, yes. I hear you. And I had an interview with some fans yesterday to get their reaction about the game after that match, after the match. And there was something I mentioned that I said to the guy, you know, where we were watching the game, we'll call it the Emirates of Houston. And when Kai Havertz got a chance to take that penalty, there was a big roar in the room. Everybody was cheering for him, and when he scored the goal. And while that was happening, I was thinking, is this just us here, or would this be a global reaction
I
to
was
all Arsenal
praying. I was
fans
praying.
everywhere. And from my little investigation or research, I've seen that this happened even in the stadium. As a matter of fact, when he scored that penalty, the fans started singing his song. So I told my friend that, man, football is a universal language. Even though there's nobody that conducts fans' reaction, but in split second, everybody is singing the same song all around the globe. I think it was a very good sight for anybody that is an Arsenal fan or that loves Arsenal out there to see Kai Havertz. So I asked one of the guys, why do you want Kai Havertz why do you think people want him to do well? He said, well, you can't invest 65 million in a player and not want the player to do well. So Arsenal fans do not have any choice right now than to get behind him and support him and give him the confidence that he needs. And probably, I believe he has the qualities. It's just probably the mentality and application that's been missing since he joined the club. Apparently, maybe we'll get to see that show in his games going forward. Funsho, I see you raising your hand. Do you have anything to add before I move to the next?
Yes, I want to add something. And I think, like you said, we are still the same Arsenal, right? That turned on a lot of players. The only thing that's different is we are winning and we are enjoying football. And I think collectively, that's probably the spirit here. He's lucky he didn't come around when Pep came to Arsenal. If he was on the team at that point when we were flirting relegation and breaking others' bad records, I think it would be terrible. I just want to have that. And I think when Tim is winning, something positive happens.
Okay, yeah. So, Jude, let me touch base with you right quick, right there. A lot of people are saying Ateta is trying to create a problem where there is none by the selection, especially going out there to get David Raya on loan for Arsenal when he has Ramsey, who is potentially or arguably should be England number one, meaning that he's a very good goalkeeper, both with his feet and shot stopping. What have you made about the dynamics of choosing the player to be in goal for Arsenal? Tata has been heard saying that there is no difference between the way you substitute outfield players to goalkeepers. I don't know if you believe that or you're just saying that to the camera. So what's your reaction to this situation in Arsenal presently? Because now nobody knows who is going to be the goalkeeper going into any game involving Arsenal.
All right. By the rules, or let's say, by what the convention is, most times it looks like number ones or the keepers are somewhat untouchable. It's just like let's say some keepers, stay in their position as long as they are putting in the works every weekend. Will Real Madrid have gone for a keeper if Courtois was not injured? I mean, the answer, you understand. So, but for what I saw, Arteta is trying to do, is trying to build depth in the squad. I don't want to fault him so much. I know we had the discussion about this issue, and I'm thinking that Arteta is overthinking. He's overthinking on issues a lot, or that he needs to keep things very simple. I've said this on this project before. So bringing in Raya and creating that competition in that department, I don't know what positives it's going to bring. It may pay him in some way, but one thing I know is that for the games I've seen Raya play, Raya is more confident on the ball, playing out from behind. You see a very much more composed goalkeeper when he's with when the ball is at his feet.
His feet, yeah.
He's cool, he's calm. He simply knows what to do. So I've not seen any of those jitters that you can see in Ramsdale body language sometimes. Yeah, but I don't want to take away anything from Ramsdale. He has done a great job. And for me, he has nothing to regret. His stocks are up. If by January he decides to call it a quit, I mean, he will get suitors. So for whatever game Arteta is playing, Ramsdale should keep his cool. If he wants to leave, he can leave. For me, he has grown his stock very much. So he can easily he ranks as one of the top keepers in the world right now.
Yeah.
You should know that. So I don't see any problem there. But for what Arteta has done, I think bringing Raya, for me, is a good idea. You know, for Arsenal to win anything, I'm not sure there were so many good players in the market this period. Anyway, you know, with even if there would have been a lot of guys went to Saudi League and all of
Yeah.
that. So, so it remains to be seen what will be left in January. What will happen? There'll be more competition. You know, those guys will still come with their bags of
Scrambling,
to poach guys. And like I said, this whole thing is becoming a lot of business. I mean, you need to see your stocks. And where was Chelsea before Roman Abramovich came?
Came in, yeah.
You understand? So Chelsea even should be a case study. Where was Mancity before the
Sheikh
Abu Dhabi group came? You know, yeah. I mean, so this thing is money. If you raise your stocks, do very well. I mean, the people who have the money will come and invest. So Ryan, for me, is not a problem. I can see the reasons why Arteta, did what he did. You know, Raya is better on the ball, and he can save a lot of shots too.
Mm-hmm.
He's quite a good keeper, trust me.
Yeah, Richard, I see your hands up. I know your position in this, but let me ask a different question in addition to whatever you want to add. If you were Ramsdale in this position right now, what would be your considerations to stay? And because it looks like everybody that is in Arsenal right now is having fun. They're enjoying playing for the team. Everything is going good. The team is only looking up for the team and the players. Would you say Ramsdale should look towards going elsewhere, or he should remain in Arsenal, considering the fact that he's in contention to becoming England #1 if things go well for him as a person?
Well, he cannot be England's #1 if he's Arsenal's reserve. And make no mistake about it, he's Arsenal's reserve. You know, I've been saying this thing since. He's the #2. You see, he's Arsenal's #2. There's no doubt about it.
We don't do that in Arsenal.
I told you. There's no doubt about it. You know, I said this thing. Remember, Reggie, remember 2 weeks ago, I told you people what would happen.
I know you mentioned it.
I said it. It's not, you see, what Arteta did was, it was sort of just, he was just trying to sugarcoat it. He knew what he was doing. He had issues with, and you even pointed it out. We had this discussion on this show about how shaky Ramsdale is with playing out from the back.
Yeah,
we've had this discussion. So I mean, and these people, they know more than we know, and we identified it. So I don't even know there's no controversy.
The noise is about. Chioma, I see your hands up before I round up with my own submission on this.
I think Richard was still talking though. He was still talking.
No, I'm fine.
Okay, so the thing is, I want to come at this from another angle. Okay, when people are talking about first goalkeeper, second one. I mean, we had moments with Leno and Martinez and Fabianski and what's his name now, Szczesny. Okay, they had people behind them, and never ever did this come up. I mean, we went out and got ourselves Peter Cech when we didn't even need Peter Cech. So I think this is very Arsenal. This is Arsenal's arrangement from the time I started watching football. We have never, ever, ever had a #1 after Seaman. Quotes me. I keep saying this. And Raya and Ramsdale issue is a case of Brazil's Edison and Alisson. Okay? That's the case. That's what I see. I mean, Alisson plays. Alisson plays.
Can I? Sorry to cut in, but I just want to cut in here. You know why it's not the same. Edison and Alisson do not play
because they're on the national team.
Yeah, but they don't play for the same. They don't play for the same team. And
Alisson, why are we not seeing it like that?
Chioma. You know that Alisson is quite clearly Brazil's #1.
Is he?
There's no. Yes.
Does he wear one on his jersey?
There's no doubt about it. When Alisson is fit, Reggie, isn't it? That's the case.
Yeah. I think I'll come here. What I would say personally, because
Reggie, please don't call me Reggie. Let's finish this, Reggie.
Okay.
Please. Don't
Okay, go
come
ahead.
in. I
Go
want
ahead.
to squash this, and I'm squashing it.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Ramsdale Raya. Raya is still on loan, as far as we know it. He didn't turn up for the Brentford game because he couldn't play against them because he was on loan, still on
Not
loan.
on.
Mhm.
So
He's
he
not.
is.
He's
So why did he not
wait,
come for
wait,
that
wait.
game? Why wasn't
No,
he
he's on loan,
playing?
of course. He's on loan.
Chioma,
There's a
Is it?
buyout option.
Chioma,
Yeah.
Chioma. He's on
Sir,
loan.
sir.
He's on loan, but they're going
He's
to
on a
buy him.
fancy kind of loan. No, but that's the
Yes.
thing. That's the thing. I think that's an Igbo man kind of business right there. Okay. if the good don't pay, I'm not paying for
And,
it.
right.
Let's squash this Raya Ramsdale thing. Okay, where was Raya when Ramsdale fought and got the spot? All of a sudden, we want to be very fancy, and we're going to Raya.
No,
No, I'm not being sentimental. I'm not being sentimental.
Let me say
This is
something
pure
about.
business.
Let me say something about this. You know, I was almost with you on this when it first happened.
But Reggie, you know I'm pissed about that Tottenham game. See,
yeah,
Ramsdale would have killed that Tottenham game. Ramsdale is wired for the Ra.
Yeah, emotionally, I feel that Ramsdale should have been in goal for that game. Yeah, but what I'm trying to, what I would say in this situation is, I kind of was wondering what I thought I was trying to achieve with getting Raya. But I sat down and thought about it, looked at the two goalkeepers, and I kind of agree with you. I see why he did it. One, let's not forget that Arteta initially went for Raya. That was his first choice keeper to be signed for Arsenal for the kind of game he wanted to play in Arsenal. But what happened was that time Brentford was they didn't want to sell him, but eventually they said 40 million. And Arsenal at the time could not afford to pay that kind of money for a goalkeeper. And they even wanted the money upfront. So the deal couldn't be done. And it was late in the transfer window. Then before he went for Ramsdale. That's one. Two, I've looked at both of them. Ramsdale is a goalkeeper that I rave about. I love Ramsdale. I went to Orlando last summer when Aston came to play Chelsea, and I saw Ramsdale play. And I remember saying it on this show many times that I was marveled at the way this guy was using both feet to distribute long range passes during the warm-up time for like an hour. I was like, wow, is this a goalkeeper? But Raya has come in. I've looked at him very well. I want to find out what is even about this guy that's making Arteta want to improve on Ramsdale. You know what I found out? Go and check it. Ramsdale doesn't come out for crosses, corners, long throws. And Arsenal considered two or three crucial goals last season with some embarrassing goals with long throws. And in the game that Ramsdale kept this season, I saw that again. He was stuck in his lines. Long throws that come to the 6-yard box should be your area that you command. He doesn't go for those balls. And Raya easily, comfortably comes for these balls and gets them. So
he doesn't even jump.
Exactly. Arteta is.
Does it make him the number one? Does it make him the number one?
I'm saying that Arteta is a coach that we know that deals with details. The players have said it, managers have said it, even pundits who work closely with Arsenal have said that this guy doesn't joke with the minutest details about the game. So I think this is one of the reasons why he brought Raya. And like you mentioned, Chioma rightly mentioned, Raya is on loan. It's possible this deal doesn't get permanent, but the good thing is that a price has been fixed. If Arsenal decide to activate that clause at 27 million, I think they will sign Raya. Yes. It's a matter of Arsenal deciding to do it or not. It's no longer in the hands of Brentford. It's a done deal. Exactly. Arsenal decide to.
Richard is going to buy Raya and keep him with him. You will buy him.
Yeah, so I think that's what I believe, because I've in the beginning of this whole drama, I was wondering what was going on. I've taken my time to really analyze it, and I believe he's going to be Arsenal number one. But
he's already number one.
It's not a foregone conclusion, because Arteta is the
coach
that. Yeah, go ahead, Funsho.
And this question is for all of you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that if Ramsdale was at goal, it will determine our season in terms of
what we achieve?
In terms of what we achieve, are we going to be worse off as a team if Ramsdale was the skipper and we spend that money on others?
Yeah, if Ramsdale is in goal as against Raya, my answer would be yes. But what I mean is, what I'm going to say is not in a massive way. But sometimes what you achieve in a season can be reduced to just one game.
Exactly. And I'll tell you, and the reason why I asked that question is we said, oh, Ryan goes for the ball. Ryan also went for the ball the first game when he first came for us, and he dropped the ball. Luckily, they called a foul when he went for that ball.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why more keeper don't go out is the defenders are smart. They just have to touch you a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Then
it
you
was
hold
foul,
balance or you follow the ball, then the ball comes loose. And I know we're looking at it, call it a foul. It wasn't a foul, that was a goal.
Yeah, but you know how many goals are considered for you not by you not coming out? That's what I'm saying.
Which is true.
This Brentford now,
sorry.
the first game they beat Arsenal, I think it was 3-0
And my
a season ago. It was a
Sorry.
long
Yeah.
throw that was dropped in
Sorry.
our box 2 times. There was one goal
You know.
considered against Aston Villa. Lewis Douglas had a corner kick from corner. He scored Arsenal. Why? Because some players were trying to ruffle Ramsdale. So some of these things can determine your season. It can.
Exactly.
And I tell you, you're right. You're right. 1 second, guys. You're right. It can tell me your season, but I also know that I think we have more high priority. I've said this before. We have more high priority problem to solve.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Before we solve Ramsdale problem, and that's Saka's backup. If you don't spend on that first, you have no business touching Ramsdale.
I don't agree with you.
The thing is that you can't fix all you need to fix every other time. Like, for instance, I know we need a striker, but Jesus is doing a job, and I know there was promise made to him before he joined Arsenal. And I believe by this January, if not just January, by summer, Arteta is going to go out and buy another striker that's going to compete with Gabriel Jesus. So, and this is how you become a big team. Jude right there is a Real Madrid fan. He can tell you more about improving on, no matter how good the quality is. There are teams that have built a culture of continuous improvement, regardless of who is in the team. So I think there's nothing wrong with Arteta trying to move Arsenal to that level where, regardless of how good we are, there is always going to be room for improvement in terms of quality, in terms of our play and investment.
Reggie, do you remember Guardiola and Hart? Hart was England's number 1, but he was useless with his feet. He kicked him out now. Quick.
Yeah, I remember that.
He didn't even wait. It was almost like he didn't even give him the opportunity that it was a slightly different scenario that Ramsdale was actually brought into the club. Hart was already there. But, I mean, you have, and think about it now. There were not so many occasions. And I've said it on this show, that I don't have a problem with Ramsdale. He was, in my opinion, I've said it here, that he was our best player last season.
Yes.
In my opinion. But he made mistakes, and very expensive mistakes. Arteta as the coach checked it. Arteta checked it, and he's resolved it. And this is the result. Think about it now. Let me just say one more thing before you continue. Sure. Think about it now. 4 matches, 3 clean sheets. Do you know how we've struggled to keep clean sheets? Do you know how Arsenal have struggled to keep clean sheets?
Yeah, but Richard, I don't agree with you on that one. Because that one was mainly on
the keeper
at Emirates, because last season I think Ramsdale was joined 2nd clean sheet in the league, so we were keeping clean sheet as well. But I understand what you're saying on that one. There are some goals that I think one thing every Arsenal fan or anybody that connected to Arsenal, watching Arsenal games have concluded is that there is this calmness, there is this confidence, there is this not too much going on when you see player in goal or with ball to his feet. He's a little bit more composed, and I think he has a little bit more intelligence in terms of decisions playing up from back. I see him sometimes try to make some passes and holds back and make alternative decisions. But Ramsdale most times tends to be a little bit rash and off wrong with his decisions with ball to feet. So I think
one last thing. Okay. One last thing, and we'll move on.
Yeah.
The beginning of defense is offense. Towards the end of the season when we're messing up, Eddie Nketiah was leading go. We're not scoring. When you're not scoring, that means ball is coming back. Mm-hmm. And I think City's success can be narrowed down to how much possession they have and how much shots they're taking on the other side. When your goalkeeper, like towards the end of the season, Ramsey was seeing many shots. And the bottom line is one is going to enter. Now, he made a mistake last of the season where you actually pass the opponent
Mm-hmm.
and they score right back. Maybe that's what piece Arteta off, but the issue is at that time our offense slowed down towards the end of the season. We're not scoring. So when you're not scoring, the ball comes back.
I hear you
I
on
don't
that.
care what goalkeeper you have. If you're facing 100 of like 20 shots per day, 3 or 4 will enter.
Yeah, for sure. I hear you on that, but there's no goalkeeper that plays behind a defense or a team that plays out from back that doesn't make wrong passes. Edison does it. So I don't think it's because of that. Edison does it so many
Pickford.
times.
You are
So many
calling
times-
Edison.
No, leave Pickford.
I'm talking
They
Pickford.
don't play from behind. Talking about teams that play from behind. Edison, I've seen many times make wrong passes. Because they're encouraged to do it. But sometimes there's a difference between making rash decisions and making a mistake. And I don't think it's just about, those kind of errors. Like I said, there are so many goals. Arsenal is one of has a specialty now when it comes to corner kicks, both defending and attacking. So they have looked at those details, and it seems that Ramsdale, in that aspect, is a liability to the team. He doesn't come for crosses, be it free kick, be it corner kick, or whatever. He's a good shot stopper. He's good with ball to his feet. He's a good character to have behind the defense. He's confident. He's that, but Roya edges a little bit. And like Jude said, I don't think there's anything wrong with having 2 top keepers. What we're going to look at now is Arteta's ability to keep these 2 players in a good emotional state and for 2 of them to remain in the club and continue to do what they're doing. Because if that is not achieved, eventually one of them will leave. Now we have lost Turner. Then Arsenal has to go out again to start looking for a backup goalkeeper, because right now, after these 2 goalkeepers, I don't think we have any. But the good thing with Arsenal is that they managed to get around to sign a new contract last season. So it's not going to be easy for him to leave Arsenal. It's going to be on Arsenal's call. So whether you're going to pay the money or probably Ramsdale might have to stay in Arsenal. And if you have these 2 goalkeepers and especially keep both of them happy, I think the club is in a better situation than what we're trying to highlight here, trying to make a meal out of that decision. So we move to United. This is another team that has remained in a bad situation, a downward trend. I remember last season when Erik ten Hag joined United, there was so much noise that United is back, that this season they probably will be a better title contender than Arsenal. The Arsenal was a flash in the pan last season. But this season, United has played 7 games in the league and they have lost 4 already, which is a very, very bad way to start the league. And I think I need to confirm. I think they said this is about their worst start to the season in the Premiership era. So that game, and funny enough, they played against Crystal Palace midweek in Carabao Cup. It looks like Crystal Palace prioritized the league. They decided not to play at all during the midweek game and lost 3 goals to nothing. But in this one, they came to Old Trafford and gave it a very thorough fight and came back with 3 points. Ugum, did you find time to watch that game? And what is your overall thought about the United Crystal Palace game? And welcome to the show. Good to have you.
Thank you. Nice to see you all. My fellow Arsenal fans, and I see a Madrid fan by virtue of the jersey he's wearing. Nice to meet you. Yeah, I didn't watch the game like 100% from top to bottom, but I caught quite a few things that I can speak to. I wondered, I know when we were discussing the preview of the game, I wondered the mindset that Crystal Palace approached that Carabao Cup with, because they offered nothing. I was actually really, really surprised at how bad they were against United. They offered virtually nothing. I watched that game. They didn't try to attack. They didn't try to defend. They just sat back and allowed United just do what they wanted, with their backup team rather than their first team. So again, my concern before that game was, Crystal Palace going to do the same thing? But knowing Roy Hodgson, I felt like that guy was going to surprise them with his approach to the second game. He's an old guy, but he's a very wise man. And I knew that he had to have had a plan for the second game. And, it was very, very well executed. He fielded his regular team and got them to really do a bit more pressing and be a bit more compact against United. Now, United made some changes. Having the likes of Garnacho and what's his name, Pelestri, those two young boys with their speed and their flexibility and all that offered a different challenge from the regular guys, Rashford and Højlund.
And Bruno.
Yeah. One of the major problems that United has had since Højlund joined is actually Rashford. Rashford will create opportunities, make space, will not square the ball to the forward to score because he wants to score himself. I don't blame him. He's a forward. He wants to get as many goals as possible, but they will need to work on that chemistry between those two guys if Højlund is ever going to succeed as a striker at United. So they made chances. They played really well initially, like they've done pretty much all season so far. They start really strong. First 15 minutes, first 20 minutes, United are on you, playing really well. And then something happens and, it just flies off. Their whole mentality changes. Either they sit back or they become quite passive in defending. Of course, Crystal Palace were switched on like they usually would be. They were switched on and they defended well and closed all the spaces and they were able to win the game. United have major problems. I don't know where to even start in what they need to do to move forward. But yes, the game was Crystal Palace coming really switched on, coming with a plan, executing the plan and getting away with it.
Yeah, so Jude, let me touch base with you. I know we have had this conversation in our group, United, Erik ten Hag. He seems to, I don't know, when a coach joins a new club, most of the time he uses what he says to try to get people on his side and then begin to implement his stuff. Yeah, I'll give you an example. We'll see the big Ange in Tottenham. The team is doing good, at least for now, but he says the right things. Pochettino has come to Chelsea. Things are not really going well, but he can't really fault his press conferences. Arteta got me when he came to Arsenal. He was saying the things I wanted to hear. I knew the issues that Arsenal had, and he knew those issues. He talked about them. He remained consistent with them, and the team progressed. In club, we know when he joined Liverpool, how Liverpool we are doing. Tomorrow he still says the right thing in the press conference. Have you been impressed with the way Erik ten Hag has managed to communicate his position, both with team performance, referees, situations, disciplinary issues with players, and what impact do you think that has had with to what's been going on the pitch with the boys?
Well, there are so many instability in United, even the out of pitch incidents concerning players, moral issues, rape here and this one here and all of that. There's a lot. I feel it's a team that is distracted, to a large extent. The lads they have in there, at least they finished fourth last season, isn't it?
Yes, third.
Yeah. So I thought. So I believe that at least starting this season, they should be somewhere around the top 6, or at least aim to finish in the top 4 this season. I wasn't expecting them to, to start up with this, inconsistency or inconsistent performance this season. They have the players, but most of them, the attitudes aren't just right, and what's in the last match that they lost to Crystal Palace, you can see at the press conference, the tone of talk for me changed a bit for Ten Hag. At least he came out in a subtle way to say that the players didn't perform to expectation. They didn't even deserve to get any point, the decision making was poor. They were not clinical and all of that. He said all of those things, but which in the past press conference, you see him not, being saying the things that the way it is to the players or what they did. The performance was below par, and they didn't deserve that result, to say the least. So, but for me, what United needs, it's not about having money. They keep buying players, but Ten Hag, for what for all his words, for me, there should be some level of stability in his squad, But I'm not seeing that. Rather, I'm seeing a team even falling apart. The likes of Rashford are not pulling their weight in the team. The experienced players don't seem to be pulling their weight. He got Casemiro, two of those Madrid guys. Varane came, Casemiro came, but that doesn't seem to be. I don't see that. I don't see that.
That cohesion
that cohesion
and the
of
progress.
a squad. Yeah, especially that players in that squad that are not pulling their weight. And I will scapegoat on Rashford. There's a lot of things for me. I believe that by now his performance in the team, he should even be a leader in that squad.
Yeah, it should
and
be
pull
assured.
everybody
It should
together.
Be giving you 7 or 8 every game.
But he's not pulling his weight. He's not pulling his weight. You don't even see him when he plays. He scores one goal, and the next moment he goes blank and all of that. He don't even track back to even help, the midfield or all of that. I mean, for me, there's no way you can get a team that will give you the results when some players are not pulling their weight.
Yeah. It seems to me, looking in from outside, that there is, apart from what's going on the board level, on the club level, inside the team, between the players and the coach, there's a gap. Something is not right there. Chioma, let me ask you. Like Ugo mentioned, in the Carabao Cup on Wednesday, United almost, can say, blew Crystal Palace away, and there were changes to the squad, like Jude rightly mentioned. And before this game yesterday, the talk was, is he going to bring Rashford, what's his name, Bruno back? Because the two boys that played from the inverted wings did a very good job, and I got a result. But of course, the league game came on yesterday. He brought these big guns back, and they lost the game. So if you were in the Hag shoes, what do you think would have been the right decision to keep those boys, the shape that he played with, and or did he do the right thing by bringing back the big guns? And what's the regret for doing that?
Whether he's playing with the big guns or the small ones or whatever, something is wrong, and it's from the roots. It's the body language of all the players. I mean, everybody has talked about Rashford. It's his body language for me. Okay, while Anthony was back there before he went for his questioning and all of that, I kept complaining about him on that wing. Like, he's being too annoying, he's lazy on the ball, he doesn't know when to make the passes, he's getting very carried away. And you have Rashford, a whole Rashford. All through the periods they were blowing through coaches, every 6 months and 7 months and all of that. He was a star boy, always a star boy. And for an Arsenal fan, there's no way I can forget Rashford. Rashford means millions. To every Arsenal game, Rashford is a guy to be scared of. All of a sudden, he's making himself a shadow of himself. And I'm telling you that thing has the whole drama in that dressing room all over it. Because Rashford is young. What is he acting up for? What has he done? So why is he carrying, all of a sudden he has a chip on his shoulder? What's he doing that for? He can't afford that. He doesn't have the luxury to be that kind of player. So let's even forget whether a Carabao Cup, we saw Sofian, okay? He came, beautiful body, did his best in the midfield and all of that, ran up and down, and then I'm sure he got himself some serious knock now. Welcome to Premier League, okay? And now you people come for the kind of Premier League they say you should come and play, where the thing is happening, and I don't even know where to start. Do I even want to start from the wingers? I want to start from the defense. So all of a sudden, they're trying to tell me that if Martinez is not there, same Martinez they said was 5 something for a defender, too short for a defender. That was every pundit's whatever for how many months that guy came in. So if that guy is not there, that means that all the other, what are their names? They are just
Harry
there.
Maguire, Lindelof,
Mascots. They are now mascots and they're
Evans.
moving up and down. So for me, I don't think what we should even be talking about is who he fielded and who he did not field. There's something wrong with the root of that club, and it's trickling down, and it's going to ruin them. Everybody's saying, "Oh, get Ten Hag out, get Ten Hag out." It's like, I want to join, and if you get him out, you have to get the Blazers out too. All these things are part of the issue. There's something wrong with them. Their body language is off. If he likes, he can call back Ronaldo from Middle East, but nothing is happening.
Yeah. I think I agree with you on that. United has been in this. I mentioned it in our pre-weekend game review, that United have found themselves at this spot many times in the last 5 years. They always end up here, and once this song starts to play, the coach is gone. They start all over again. And they get to this point again, and they sing this song again. The coach leaves. We are at that spot again. So, Richard, let me ask you, at this point, in percentage, how do you share the blame or ask people to take responsibility in this situation United right now? You have the coach one side, you have the players, and you have the board, of course. So, who should take more of the responsibility of what is going on in United right now? Because like I said the last time, about which team was that? I think it's the Chelsea. The transfer window has shut. We don't have any transfer business anymore until January. So for me, I always believe that coaches, regardless of what you have, once the transfer window is shut, get down and get the job done. Let people see what you're doing. Let it not be that, okay, we can see what you're trying to do, we can see what you're doing, but the quality of the tools that you have cannot get you to where you want to be. Do you think Ten Hag is doing enough with what he has right now? Or do you think the players are to be blamed, or is he more on the board? As in, like, I know they have to pull together, but who should, who is not doing, whose lack of performance is causing more to the club at this moment?
I think he was supported. I think Ten Hag was actually supported when you think about the players that they brought in. So I think he should shoulder, the lion's share of the blame. Also, I think that I don't know if you remember at the beginning of the season when we were talking about the teams that would actually have a chance of winning the Premier League title. I know I said that United have no chance. So I'm surprised at how badly they started, but funnily enough, I still believe they'll finish the top 6, but not higher than that. So yeah, to answer your question, Ten Hag is to blame, but it'll be a mistake to sack him. They've also had issues with injuries. What actually hampered United was there was an injury that they had. Do you remember the friendly they played against Arsenal? That they beat us in the US.
In the New York.
Yes, that's the boy. That's Kobe Mino boy. Mino. He was injured. He would have started. They really missed him. He would have been somebody people don't even realize. And
okay, the left footer, the guy that plays from like Saka's position.
Young. Yeah. He's 18. Yeah. Yes, now he's 18 years old. He would have had the legs. Because what United are missing in midfield, especially, is energy, and it's telling. It's actually affecting them because also the other mistake I've said this over and again. The other mistake that they're making, Fernandes should never be captain of Manchester United. Fernandes is not a captain. Fernandes is not a captain. So, in fact, the fact that somebody like that is your captain is like, right there's a problem. It shows that your mind, even your mindset, what type of culture are you trying to instill in your team when I keep saying controversial things. I won't say what I want to say, but but he's not a good example. Let me leave it at that.
Yeah.
He's not a good example. A captain should be an example.
Yeah, I think I understand what you're saying. I hear you on that one. Let's move to another very shocking result of the weekend, and a big one. City losing 2-1 to Wolves. I mean, I know everybody believes that at some point, as long as you play in this league, you're going to have a bad day. You will lose a game or you draw a game you're supposed to win and stuff like that. But I don't think anybody saw this one coming. City going to Wolves and coming back with 0 points. Chioma, I see you. This one is of huge interest to you. What was your general thought about that game?
Okay, when a man goes against a pack of wolves, what do you expect? And it shocks all of us that on a very bright, Sunday, City came with all their boogeymen and all their fast men, Alvarez, EG, and the likes of them. And it took Wolf, not even Wolves, it took that club to sit them up. So this was a thing, yeah. Ugum is here. Oh, I think Ugum just left. So we had a pyro radio thingy, and Ugum was so confident. Oh, you're here. You remember you said, oh, City is, you said that game is just, I don't even want to talk about it.
I was terribly wrong. Terribly wrong.
Oh my days. Ugum was confident. And on that Saturday morning, I was so sure something was going to happen, but I did not want to say anything. I didn't want to say anything. That team Wolves, there's something about them. They have a sprinkle of the old Wigan. I don't know if you can remember how Wigan used to play somebody football. It's either they injure all your 7 players or they just give you a reckless win with loads of injuries. They have a sprinkle of Tottenham and Wigan, and I'll come at you kind of, times. I remember when they still had Jay Moutinho. If that guy is playing, how many seasons ago, if he were there with that one, he said that one that went to Middle East, Ruben, they will make a mess. And Jimenez, they will scare you from the first whistle to the last one. And now these guys are not even there. And Wolves came and they hindered City from being Man City. Am I excited? I am very excited. Am I expecting that City might lose to Luton Town someday? Yes, I am. Please quote me. Write it down. 15 naira for everybody when it happens. But I'm really excited. I saw that coming, but I just didn't say anything.
So, Funsho, let me touch base with you right quick before I go to Jude. There's been, I know we mentioned a few moments ago about how teams deal with injury to key players. A lot of people now are going about saying, so without Rodri, City cannot win a game. And of course, it has happened two games in Spain, and they lost both of them, though in different competitions. What have you made about City? There's been huge talk about them having a lot of quality in depth. Their squad, they have a big squad. No team in the league has a bigger squad than City. A player goes out, another player steps in. Stuff like that. What's his name? KDB got injured. Foden did beat. It looks like they never missed him, but all of a sudden is unraveling because Rodri is not there. So what do you have you made about that? What do you think is the reason why City seem to have struggled in the last 2 games?
I think when you look at Manchester City, I think they've really plateaued at some point. When you look at them, it's like, what else are they playing for, right? They've won treble last season. I never questioned City's chance. Actually, they can still win the league, after losing this game.
Mm-hmm. Of course.
Because they know how to. Because what they will do is beat their opponent, the closest opponent. If it's Arsenal or Chelsea, that would decide the season for them. And like you said, what's going on with them. I don't think anything is going on with them. I think that's what happened. What we saw is what the Premier League is about. And that's why it's the best league in the whole world. Anybody can have breakfast at any time.
Mhm.
You know, you going to the game Sunday morning, you ask 100 people who do you think will win this game. 99% of people will say Manchester City, right? But what happened? Wolves came, and I think Wolves. And one thing about Premier League is you have to be careful of teams that have nothing to lose. They are the most dangerous team ever, and Arsenal learned from that last season.
Mm-hmm.
The team that has nothing to lose and just want to survive and be in the top of the league, they have nothing to lose.
Yeah, Wolves had 4
And
points before that game, on 6 games, and
yeah,
possible 18 points. They had only 4.
18. They had only 4, and this is what happened. I think last year for us was Everton, and I think another team, Brighton or some other team like that just came out of nowhere and beat us. This was a game that if you look at Arsenal's schedule last season, like this is winnable, you check it out. But that's a game that we actually didn't win or we lose all the time. So to me, I don't think something is wrong. Yes, they lost KDB. I think KDB is more of a damage than
Rodri.
Because KDB and Haaland's partnership is unmatched. Yeah. Oh my God, is unmatched. They can be, if they need one goal, that one pass will come from KDB and Haaland will score it. Right now, you look like, I think City are playing with 10 men. Haaland is just outside wondering, when am I going to get a ball? When am I going to get a ball? When am I getting a ball? No one is really fitting him well. Foden came in for KDB, and the first 2 games after filling in, he wasn't himself, then he picked back up. But now it has dropped. So I think Manchester City also, I think they got too confident for the game. A few players that have been disappointed so far. I've always thought Grealish doesn't belong on that team. He never really fit in. They should have kept Sterling, in my opinion. But they let Sterling go and carry Grealish. You look at Grealish's goal scoring and everything. It's kind of like drop for them.
Mm-hmm.
It's not as consistent. And there's a lot of joke going around, like just give the guy alcohol, man. That's all they care about. And but I think City's gonna be fine. Yeah, I think they're dealing with injury issues and a few cards issues from Rodri. But I think I'm not gonna lose sleep over them. I think Arsenal is the only team that can give them challenge, and we are not acting like we want it so bad. I think it's gonna be easy season for City. I'm just happy that they're not gonna go undefeated. Because you ask me, what else is City playing for? What else are they playing for? It's to be undefeated, right? Not that Arsenal. And I'm happy it didn't happen this season. It's not gonna happen.
Okay.
That's what I have to say.
Okay, so Jude, I saw your hand up. Do you have anything to add to this?
Actually, I was clapping for Chioma's submission, not really. but I'm gonna say something about the City game. Just like most of the games I watched this weekend, I saw some very terrible defending, in a lot of them. And City was one of those, the second goal Wolves scored against City. You can just pity those City players. You can just bring them out from that field and just flog them like 10 each.
Yeah, there was.
It's just
including
they were in 6s and 7s.
That was a home goal, by the way.
You just wonder
that was a
how
home
can
goal,
somebody.
Right?
No, the second one.
Yeah, the second
The
one.
second was a home goal.
No,
Yeah.
no. That was.
No. It was not. It was the run of play now.
The run of play.
The run of play. It was just a counter attack, and you see all the defenders as if one.
Even the goalkeeper was wondering what he was doing. He came out. He was telling I don't know. It
was a City guy that scored that goal.
No, that was the first one.
No.
That was the first one.
Okay. That was Diaz's own goal. Yeah.
So you wonder how people train all week and then come out on a weekend that you're supposed to, for a team like that, and they just come to mess themselves up. I saw it. Even the Arsenal match against Bournemouth. You saw the 2 goals. The Saka's first goal. None of those defenders could react. And then the last goal by Ben White, which was literally a free header. Saw Liverpool conceding late, defensive issues. The same thing in the game that Madrid won against Girona and all of that. It's just it's just so stupid at times. There are so many defensive blunders in the weekend all over. That they can't. But again, coming back to City, for what I see is City was very confident to win that game. They are beginning to. I believe they were overconfident that they are going to win that game, and it's a team that most times they feel that they have the resources to deal with any issue that comes to them. They're not beginning to feel that you have so many injured players out there. Like Funsho said, Kevin De Bruyne being out is very, very critical for them. Like I think I said something that it's going to start showing, and he's on a long term.
Yeah.
So it's going to start showing that midfield. If you take it from them, then you see how vulnerable City's defense is, and that showed literally yesterday. Anybody can just copy that what Wolves did to them and apply the same thing, and you see them caving. No, trust me, because Haaland is up there. He hardly comes home.
Helpless.
You understand? So, like Funsho rightly said, they are playing with 10 men. If you isolate him, Gabataya, trust me, that defense is in trouble. They don't have what it takes to deal with the fast-paced,
I don't know why I'm laughing.
Yeah, I think I agree with you guys. It's just that, like I always mention in this show, that sometimes in football, results seem to be paper over crack. City are playable, they are beatable. Funsho said it the last time we had the show here. I've seen teams come at City and almost get a result. It's just that they are very efficient in front of goal. They hardly miss chances. But if you deny them chances, you can score them. They concede goals. I mean, City had the same number of clean sheets last season, I think, with Arsenal. The team that had the highest number of clean sheets, I think it was Newcastle. So they concede chances. And talking about missing people and the quality, let's not forget that Guardiola was not in the bench in this game. He accumulated 3 yellow cards and was sitting up there. So probably that was also another impact on the game. But there's one player that I want to. I know we're going to go to Wolves. We're going to talk to us about Wolves, but let's not base this like City just 3 away 3 points. Wolves also came with some tools, and they made use of them. I'm going to single out Foden, and sometimes as fans we are guilty of this flash in the pan or flamboyant display by players. We take to them and we tend to crucify coaches when they don't play certain players that we like. Foden is a player that most people think is good enough. He has the qualities and stuff like that. But if you go and look at the first goal that City conceded, I believe Pep is going to shred Foden for that goal. That City lost possession of of the ball in the middle of the park. Foden was the closest person to Neto. He made a little effort to stop him, couldn't succeed, and he just gave up. If you go and watch that goal again, by the time Neto was halfway into City's half, he had, what's his name? Foden was like 10 steps behind him and had stopped trying. Okay, he can't keep up with his pace, but he can still run into the box and try to help your team defend. But he just stopped. And that's how the goal came, because by the time Neto ran off Ake, Diaz had no choice than to try to go tackle. And what did we see? The end of the day, the ball was at the back of the net. So what I'm trying to say in essence is sometimes, one thing that has worked for City is they have 11 men that are tenacious on the pitch. They play you, but they also defend like they have 11 defenders. So when you have players like Foden and Grealish in that 11, then with Haaland, then it's difficult. Then you remove a player like Rodri. Then it's going to be very difficult for you to have the same City that we see week in, week out. I think that's what's beginning to happen to them. They are beginning to lose that tenacious edge that they have over teams, because it's bad enough they're better than you in quality. Then when they also work harder than you, then it's difficult for you to beat them. And yesterday, for me, City was probably put in 60 or 70% in terms of overall tenacity, while Wolves was way 90, 95. Because that's what got Wolves that win yesterday. They were very, very tenacious. They refused to lose any battle. And to believe that Wolves went ahead in that goal. Okay, it was an own goal. They got their goal. City came back. I was, I'm not a Wolves fan, but I was keeping an eye on that game while Arsenal was playing, and I was deflated. I was like, man, it's done. Now City's going to go ahead and score 3 or 4 goals. For Wolves to maintain their cool and come again to score 2 in the second goal. And this goal came in at the 66th minute of the game. So City still had about 30 minutes to come back into the game, and it ended 2-1. That tells you the kind of mindset and the the effort Wolves made in that game. So we can talk to us about Wolves. Let's not make it about City. Yeah, go ahead.
Just 1 second before we go. I want to read the statistics to us and see that maybe we don't know, right? Let's look at the stats. Shots on goal, City 8, Wolves 1. Shot attempts, City 23, Wolves 3. Right? And that shows you that maybe I City unlucky that it can't score, because I mean you're taking 23 shots and only one went inside, and Wolves took like 3.
Stats and numbers. Stats and numbers, they're not video, they're not pictures. Sometimes there are some shots that are not shots. There are some shots that are blocked by defenders. And if defenders block your shot, that means they're tenacious. That's what I'm trying to say. So if you have a clear, what you can give us there now that will make sense to me is saves made by Wolves keeper. Can you give us the saves that the keeper made?
Yes, 7 saves by Wolves, 0 by
Mancity. So compare it to the number of shots. You see that most of those shots did not get to the goalkeeper. So that's what I'm saying.
But 7, we can say 7 win, and Wolves 3, but no saves.
So, exactly. So
you compare that number.
No, of course, City is City, but like I said, let's talk about what Wolves brought into the game. Ugumbo. Yeah. I want to make you Wolves fan. Let's talk about Wolves.
Why would you pick Kogum? Kogum said no.
I'm happy. No, I'm happy to be picked because I particularly like Gary O'Neill.
I know, that's why I picked him.
Yeah, I like Gary O'Neill. I followed the guy. I mean, I watched his Bournemouth team play last season. And I thought he had a level of fight. He's an organized coach, passionate coach, clearly must have learned from his time as a footballer. I love the way he carries himself. He's not dramatic. He's not abrasive, respectful. He can do his press stuff and go. You probably won't notice that a coach has come and gone. But the guy, you can see that he pays attention to details. I watched the first game of the season, United playing against Wolves, and saw the way they played against United. And I was like, man, these guys know what they're doing. Their coach sets them up properly, right? So, special mention to Gary O'Neill. If there's a coach that so far hasn't gotten any reward for his hard work in terms of results, in terms of accolades, in terms of recognition, is Gary O'Neill. And so this was an opportunity. And even after beating City, we can all see that still he hasn't made any noise. Nobody has said anything about O'Neill. Nobody has given Wolves any major credit in his concerned. And so he's still flying under the radar, but I think he's going to be a great coach. The way he set his team up yesterday, and for players, they have few very useful players. One being Matthias Cunha, a Brazilian player that can really carry the ball well. City came and stole one of their best midfielders. This guy,
Nunes.
Is it Nunes? Nunes.
Nunes,
yeah. So, but Cunha is a player that, unfortunately, is like Lacazette. He will do all the work, building up into the 18-yard box. Once he gets to the 18-yard box, probably there won't be any energy. Yeah, energy to finish the chances because he must have done most of the work building up to the goal. So now, but clearly their most effective player, who ironically has been linked with Arsenal today, is Pedro Neto.
He has always been linked to Arsenal.
Yeah.
Every season.
Yeah.
So very, very, very good winger. Very good winger. Very aggressive, strong on the ball, direct, has really good skills, and tries to get right to the end. Goes to the back, byline, cuts in. He can use both feet pretty well for a very left-footed player. Yeah. So yeah, they have he has useful tools in that team. I like Guardiola called the Korean guy. He didn't know his name. The guy ended up punishing him. Yeah. So yeah, they have some useful players. For me, their biggest asset in that Wolves now is Gary O'Neill. They better not lose that guy to any other side. I think with him there and with the players continuing to put their heads down, they are not going to be relegated. I can predict that.
Yeah, I know I've said it here so many times. Wolves is a team, one of the teams in EPL, lowly position teams that play football the way it should be played. One of the things that have undone them many times has been their inability to score goals. We all know what happened in their first game of the season against United. They ran United over, but missed chances at last minute. At the end, United won away with three points, and this has happened to Wolves so many times. So once, Ugu mentioned, Gary O'Neill is able to fix that and get their strikers to at least slot away chances, because they create loads of chances against, and this is against any team. I don't care who they're playing against. They find a way to create chances, but unfortunately, they can't take those chances. Once they can start to, improve in that aspect of their game, I think Wolves will become like Aston Villa. That's like Chioma mentioned earlier on. That's how I used to fear them when people like Moutinho and Moutinho was this guy that went to Barcelona, was the speedster.
Adama.
Adama Traore. I used to be wary of Wolves when those days, because they know how to play football and they can also.
Yeah, I don't forget the coach they had then. What was that guy's name?
Is Nuno Espirito Santo that went to
Nuno, exactly. I mean, the guy, he plays a lot of physical and straight football.
They will stand up to you, they will play you, and they will create chances. But they
you from every side of the field.
Yeah, exactly. And they had issues with convert. They have always had issues with converting their chances. Once they can improve on that, I believe Wolves will be one of the teams to be. I think that was the time they were 6th or 7th on the table last season and 2 seasons ago. So it shouldn't be a very huge surprise. But again, because it's City, of course, it's going to raise the eyebrow. But we know that City has never gone unbeaten in any season. They have lost a minimum at least 11 points every season, which means they are beatable and they drop points. So I don't even know why we're making too much noise there. But so that's that. For I think City has learned their lesson of the season. Like Funsho said, luckily for us, the rest of us in the league, they don't have their full squad, so there's no guarantee that they're going to come out in the next match with anger to pounce on their next opponent, who are going to happen to be Arsenal. So we'll see how that one will pan out.